Welcome to Montreal Rocks. Very happy. Been actually looking forward to this one. We have with us in studio Linn Koch Emmery. Very hard to say that middle one because I'm not used to it. Your pronunciation, but I hope I got it right.
Yes, it's a soft pronunciation. It's like Koch, so it's a really, it's hard. Like normally, like English speaking people have like troubles with that, so it's okay.
And the reason being is that you're not very close to Montreal at this time. You're all the way in Sweden.
Yes, exactly. So I'm in Stockholm at the moment. So it's getting quite late here.
So we'll get you to bed soon. But let's talk a little bit about your childhood. I like starting at the beginning because I want to figure out who Linn really is. So maybe picture yourself as a small child. Maybe you're flipping through your parents' record collection or cassettes or CDs. And there's a point in our lives where music takes on a new meaning. It kind of goes from something we hear to something we feel. Maybe it's by discovering a band that is truly our own, that is not our parents' music. Is there a song or a band that did that for you?
Well, it's I think it's not like a band or a song really. To me, it's been more like a music genre. My cousin started sending me. She was like really into indie rock and especially like British bands from like the 60s and up to like the 90s. So she just started to share those songs that she was really into, and she's a bit older than me, and I just, that kind of music just like sparked something in me. I really loved it, and I guess I went from there really. So I would say it's not really like, I can't remember like a band or a song like a like precise one, but it's very much just like she just like sent me because she was listening to such like a broad spectrum of music in that genre. So I guess she just like sent me the songs that she really liked, which was like one with it was like a bit like Libertines and Beatles, a bit of everything, but everything in like the indie kind of rock
Mhm.
genre.
That
So
kind of makes a lot of sense because you're described as an indie darling, a real, you're really making waves. I mean, no pun intended based on your other record, but you really are making waves in the music scene, and you're being recognized for this great music that you're putting out. And it's obviously that it's got this indie infused flavor, and it's just really catchy, and it's really fun to listen to. I'm really enjoying.
Thank you.
We have the new album, Being the Girl, which is the latest album. We're going to talk about it soon because we're still in your childhood. So I want to keep going with that. Uh, you have a sister, Leah.
Yes.
What did you appreciate most being in a band with her?
I think it's like we're coming from like quite a small town, and when I was growing up, I'm not like from a very musical family or so, and I didn't have like a lot of friends that were into music. And my sister Leah played piano, so I think it was more like convenient that she could actually play an instrument, which I needed in my band. So nothing more than that really. It was more like it was easier because she was like one of the few people that I knew that could play an instrument, to be honest. So
What was the first song that you learned how to play or sing?
um hmm, well, I never played any covers. We never did that really because I
Really?
was
That's cool.
not. Yeah, because when I was starting out, I was literally starting out playing in a band and learning playing guitar at the same time. So I think I was like, none of us were really that good, so we could actually play a cover and you can tell what it sounded like. We were more like, in the beginning, it was more like, okay, so can we switch between an A and a G chord, basically, and just let's do that for like 10 minutes. Um,
That's smart. I never thought about that.
yeah, so that was more our like approach to it. And eventually I started writing songs. Like I made up songs on like one or two chords just in the beginning. Um, and we just started with that kind of thing. So it was really like simple songs, almost like, like very simple. Um, So I think
I
it
guess
was more
punk
like the
has,
sake of,
I guess punk has the 3 chord songs, and I guess indie has 2 chord songs.
yeah, like most of them have. So I think I was quite happy with that. And we had like my friend Victoria played drums and my friend Josephine played bass. And I was really happy with how it sounded when it was just like 1 or 2 chords and we could all like switch at the same time. And um, I kind of like that. And to be honest, I don't think my music today is that much different. I guess something has like, I guess I've evolved and
Hmm.
but I think like the core for me is still there, like the really, really like simpleness of just like a few chords and a very like simple melodies. Um,
But it's the simple ones that we tend to remember the most because they just slip it out of our in and out of our ears so easily. It's so smooth,
yeah,
and they kind of come back to us. And I think that's there's a lot of discipline in staying simple. People think to try to overcomplicate things, I believe sometimes, and
yeah.
they kind of, it's like an artist. If you're a painter, you have to learn how to stop at one point, or else you can't just keep painting and painting and painting. It'll never be finished. You have to say,
Mm.
okay, this is my work of art, and this is how I present it to the world.
Yeah, I agree on that. I think it's and to me it's always been more about like songwriting and playing in a band, the music in general, just been more about like the emotions than like the technique and like the amount of chords or notes you can play. So I still rarely play songs with more than like 3 chords, and I do tend to like sing the same kind of words all the time. So it's not like I'm not a artist like of a lot of surprises really, but I think I'm like heavily like more like tending to go with like emotions instead. And I guess in some way it's been like that always, like even since we started the band. So
I think that bleeds through because we want to see true emotions. We want to see real feelings. And I think if you try to hide behind too many chords, it doesn't come through sometimes, but it definitely does
yeah.
for you. I want to take you to your first Instagram post. It is, I don't remember. I always like to do this. It's of a Nick
Mm.
on the phone. He's holding a pitcher of berries in the woods.
Yeah, he
Do you remember that
is.
day?
Yeah, no, it's he's on the phone, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because that's also he produced my record. So it's the same guy that produced my
Mhm.
Being the Girl, and it's basically my best friend. And we were out at my family's cottage in the archipelago outside, out like on it's on the east coast. I grew up in a town called Norrköping, and on the east coast there we have like a beautiful archipelago, and so it's out there. I remember we took his car, we drove the car out there, and he had like a golden Volvo. um, so we drove out there, and I think this is somewhere during the day, and we were out and picking blueberries. That's what we Swedish people do.
The,
uh,
how does he help you with your creation process? I mean, you're there, you're spending time together. Um, is that times where you get inspired, or how does he help you out?
he helps me out with kind of making the songs turn, like I do write the songs. I start out like at home, I write the songs as demos, I record the demos, and they're quite rough then, and they're just like really, I write like all the lyrics and the chord progression, I write like the melodies, and then what he does is like he's a classic like producer, I guess. He just like takes my very like rough idea, and then he turns that into he records it, like, so he's been recording it, so we go into the studio and he's like, well, I think it would be nice to maybe like if the beat went a bit more like this, or like the tempo has to go up a bit, I think that would be nice. And then I guess like what we do is like we work on it together from there. So he kind of just like kind of makes it a bit more, like he defines it a bit, I think.
I think a
Yeah.
good producer is one that you collaborate with, and they can elevate your thoughts. Because sometimes you have something stuck in your head, but they come at it from a different way, and then they can kind of make it more real,
Yeah,
manipulate it a little bit to make it even better.
100% like that. I think many of the songs were like when I'm listening to the demos, they are quite different. And also sometimes I'm quite weird in my way of like songwriting. I can have like an intro that is like 1 minute long, and he can be like, why is that so long, Lynn? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't like sound better. It maybe shorten that. And I think, and then it all makes sense. Like when I listen to it in the end, it's like, yeah, that's exactly how it was supposed to be. I was just a bit off in the beginning. Like when I wrote it, I had no idea why I thought it would sound better if it was like double the length. So he really does like just like kind of make it better, I guess.
So one of your favorite books is 1984 by George Orwell. So
Yeah.
I wanted to read you a quote from him, and let's talk about it.
Mm,
One of his
okay.
quotes, he says, "Perhaps one did not want to be loved as much as to be understood." So do you write
Mm.
songs to help understand yourself better? And if so, in what way?
To understand myself, like me understanding myself better. Um, that's a good question. I never thought about it in that sense, really. I think I do feel like I am myself the most when I'm in my element of making music. So I've always feel, yeah, maybe that makes sense then, that I would understand myself better when I do music. Or um but it's to me it's not necessarily like, I feel like some artists are saying that they're writing music as some kind of diary where they write, like they have like the opportunity to write stuff, and it's not like that. I just like, I feel like my, like more like myself when I create music, and when I sit, and I feel like satisfied and happy with myself when writing music. I think that's more it. And I always love like language and writing, and um playing with words. I think it's just, I enjoy that really.
They say
So I
the pen is
guess,
mightier than the sword. It's true.
yeah, I think so. I never thought, like, I've been, it's hard to even like, as soon as maybe I should start thinking about a bit more about these things, because I've been writing music since I was 12. So I never really, because I can't imagine my life without like, writing music. So I guess, yeah, it's a huge part of me. And I guess a huge part of my, like how I'm seeing myself, and like my identity and my view of my identity and who I am.
And of course, you share a lot in your songs. Maybe it's not uh, evident at first, but if you take multiple listens, we do get to know you a little bit better. Um,
Yeah.
we know, well, we don't know. I'm going to ask you, but you seem to be more interested in the present or the future than the past. Do you
Mm,
have a future self that you aspire to, like someone who you want to become?
yes.
Can you describe
Yes.
that person? I think it's a great
Uh,
exercise to do. Anybody should do this.
yeah, no, I do have a very clear picture of like where, like I picture myself, and I always work like that. I've really, since I was like, I still think I have the same um idea and like maybe goal, the image of myself. And I kind of decided on that when I was 12. I 100% pictured myself as, when I was 12, I was like so sure that I'm gonna be a rock star. I'm gonna be music is gonna be my life. I'm gonna be on stage. I'm gonna write music. I'm gonna live this life. And in I think that's still how I picture myself.
And you're doing
uh,
it. It's great.
yeah, I'm doing. Well, I'm slowly getting there.
But
I'm not 100% where I want to be yet, but it's definitely, I do spend my life writing music. So yeah, in a way, I guess I'm there. Yes.
well, you're on the radar, definitely. But on your journey to get to this future self that you aspire to be, uh, maybe you have to lose a part of yourself. Now you have this tongue-in-cheek song called Lynn R.I.P. or Rest in Place.
Mm.
Do you find that for you, personal growth is kind of like shedding off old skin, where you're kind of starting for fresh, or is it more of a gradual process for you as you evolve and become a better person, a better Lynn?
I don't know. I think I do. I think that song is very. It kind of says something about me as a person as well, because I think it's sometimes in songs I tend to like, I think before this record a lot of my songs been like maybe like pure um like love songs or like miserable kind of. I think on this record I kind of, that part of my personality that is a bit more I'd say like quirky, maybe it's the wrong word, but
Morose,
uh,
maybe?
yeah, I do like to yeah,
It's nice to
I
be in
do.
that space every once in a while because
I
when
know, and I think it's just like it never maybe come through. It never came through in my music really, and on this record, I kind of had like more. I let myself, like that side of myself also like shine through a little bit. Like to have like a little bit of like a banter with yourself, um, and it feels kind of good to. I think music, since it can't be just like dark and sad all the time to me, like my life is like, I'm a person that tends to go up and down a lot like emotionally, and I think my music does that as well. Like I think also like if you're going to sing about like, you know, killing yourself or dying, I think it has to come with some kind of like tongue in cheek as well, because otherwise it'd be just like too sad.
yeah. Uh,
So
I mean, definitely, if that's what you're, if somebody who's listening to this is thinking about that, go seek help. But
I
uh,
know this, but there's been a lot of people though been asking me how, if I'm all right listening to that. Are you kind of like taking it quite literally, which is not as like, that's not how it's supposed to
no,
be.
I mean that's why it's tongue in cheek. It comes out. I think it comes out properly. But I
Yeah,
think it
good.
is important. You know, we all have these dark dots at certain points in our life, and sometimes when you can write through them, or even like look at it through the lens of a little bit of humor, you get out of it. You live to see another day, and you see that maybe it wasn't as big. The problem wasn't as big as I thought it was in retrospect, and that's what we hope.
Yeah,
Another,
exactly.
another song is "Blow My Mind."
Hmm?
So, what has blown your mind lately? Is there anything that shocked you or surprised you?
um what has blown my mind lately? That's also a really good question. There's a bunch of things blowing my mind. I love to be mind blown. I like enjoy that feeling, you know.
Hmm.
I kind of live for that very much. I normally try, music is something that really does blow my mind on a regular basis. I think that's like the easiest way to kind of blow your own mind. Um, you know, having a coffee in the morning, listening to a great song, walking to the bus, is that kind of blows my mind sometimes. But then also I enjoy reading a lot, and this summer I've been working a lot on myself, and um, I think yeah, you know what blew my mind? My little sister blew my she does blow my mind, and she just got into um she's going to be like a therapist or like a psychologist. Do you say that? Is that,
Yes.
yeah, that's maybe, yeah. So she came into, that's kind of like that school. She applied for it and she didn't think she got in, so she got in, and she's just like amazing. And just her being like really determined and being like, she's just like an amazing person. And yeah, she definitely has, like this summer she blew my mind.
So maybe the 12-year-old sister was thinking about being a psychiatrist or helping out. Where you're thinking rock star, which is
Yeah,
both
I
noble
hope so.
professions. I think you both have help. You're both helping people heal emotionally.
Mm,
One is
that's
by
true.
making people talk, and the other one is by maybe making people listen. And
Yeah, it's
so
nice when you say it like that.
there's a pub in London called the Globe in Morning Lane.
Yes.
I saw pictures of it. I know exactly what it looks like inside. What went down on June 4th?
um, it was London Bridge, the terror attack.
Ah,
Uh, and I was at a festival. Field Day is a festival in London. It's a huge festival in Victoria Park with a lot of bands playing, and I I was in that festival, and I met a guy on stage. He was playing a show. He was playing in a band from the States, and I met him up on stage when they were like leaving stage. We made eye contact and we said hello, and then he came up backstage and he asked me if I wanted to go and watch like Ty Segall, I think, later that night. And I thought he was really cute, so I thought that could be a nice thing to do. And then I was going to the Ty Segall show, and he wasn't there. And then all of a sudden people start running, and it's the terror attack kind of happened at London Bridge. So it's kind of like a chaotic thing that happened. And even if it wasn't like that close, it's still like we were a festival with like 20,000 people. And so everyone was really scared that something's going to happen in here, because there's like, a big crowd.
I know exactly how you feel. I was in Vegas when they had the shooting. I wasn't at the festival, it's a country festival, but I was close enough that we were wondering what's going on. I know exactly.
Yeah. So, and it was like London Bridge and Victoria Park. It's not that far, but then, and then all of a sudden, I feel someone knocking on my back, and I found him. And when it's like terror attacks, like the whole, like in central London, there's no phone, you can't call anyone because everyone is calling so much. So it's like, do you really get and it was just like a bunch of people everywhere, and we were like, okay, so we need to get out. So him and I we just started walking because we wanted to get away from the crowd and like the big, like being around like a lot of people. We just started walking, and after like 1.5 hours, we came to this pub, because that was close to another place called Moth Club that we knew. And we went into this pub, and inside the pub there was like karaoke bar with a live band for I don't want to say old people, but there was like an older group of older people that sang, and they were just like so carefree, because I guess they don't have like smartphones and stuff, and I guess they heard about like the terror attack, but it was something inside this bar that was such a nice environment, because it was like the time just stood still in there, and it felt really, really safe. So it was just like 3 old men that played like really nice cover songs, and there was people like older couples dancing. And then we came in there, and we were the only one, like I think below 50 or 60 in that room, and that's just like where we sat and met. And it was just like, it was a kind of like a nice moment, because it was such a special night with the whole like surrounding of like not being able to talk to anyone and being really, really scared, and then also meeting a wonderful new person that still means a lot to me. And today we have like a lot of contact, and they've been touring Europe, and we've been hanging out. So it was just like a beautiful instant meeting, I feel.
Just
and that
memory and time.
It is. And that little that little part on the record is actually the background sound is from that night, because I filmed from outside the pub with my phone. I filmed something, and I found that film accidentally on my phone.
I was wondering.
And so it is actually that same background sound from that night, from outside that pub. So that's how it is.
Well, just to finish, we're almost done. I want to find out what's the thing that you're most proud of on being the girl.
It's such a hard question to answer, because of course I'm very, very proud of that record. I'm very proud of that. I just like finished it and did that, because in a way I felt like I've been doing music since I was quite young, and I thought by now I'd be on my 10th record or something, but this is the first one. But I'm just like really, really proud that it turned out. I did listen to it yesterday, like the whole record, and just went through it, because I kind of want to feel if I still like it. Sometimes you grow out of stuff, and I listened to it, and I was like, it kind of surprised me that it was so good.
Kind of forget, because it's all these little chunks, right? And then once you put it together, all this time is all of a sudden compressed into
Yes,
1 hour of
I
listening to.
do. But if I have to pick like songs, because it's so weird, you get so bored of the songs you heard a lot. So, but I think I do love I love all of them, but I would say Laser Shot and is one of my favorites, and I do really like that one. I think it's beautiful. And then I Paralyzed is also one of my favorites. So I cannot tend to like the more mellow ones. They feel like, I think those are the most like personal ones. So maybe that's also why I like them.
Probably the last one I was listening to in the car as I parked was Paralyzed. And
Yeah,
for the other ones, I can tell you can hear the intensity, which is captured the sound on the songs, but I can tell you turn it up a notch when you're doing it live. I can't wait to see it live.
yeah, I know. I know. I'm so excited too.
I got to get you back to. You got to go to bed. You got work in the morning. I really enjoyed talking to you. We look forward to what's coming up next. If there's a tour of Canada, we hope that you stop by in
I
Montreal.
would love to. I used to live in Canada for a bit when I was younger. A year. I did an exchange here, but then it was in Ontario. So I guess it's quite
Toronto,
big.
probably.
Yeah, I was really close. Oh, close to Toronto, Niagara Falls, there, that area. So really close to the border. But yeah, I love Canadians, the nicest people, I think,
Okay.
except Swedish people.
Yeah, we love.
Swedish people and Canadians are very like they're quite similar, I think, in a way.
I think
There's a lot of like
we're a long
similarities.
lost family that we're the same in many ways.
Yeah, something
Thank you.
about like the northern thing.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It was really nice speaking to you. Okay.